West Ham United made their first summer signing of 2026. Looks that way, technically speaking. The permanent signing of on loan winger Kibala Madrid is a signing. It's a permanent signing. We've taken the option, the £1 million option, to turn his loan signing into a permanent signing in the past couple of hours. That's the report that's come out from The Athletic and various other sources. Kibala Madrid, he only played one game for West Ham. I think it was against Burton Albion. Looked impressive, but not enough time to really determine what he really could be like. We got him on loan last season. David Sullivan described him as a punt, one that could work out, from, I think it was Venezuelan club Deportivo La Gurion or something like that. We got him on a small amount of money with an option to sign him on a permanent basis for £1 million, and we've taken that option up. Now, it could be that the Madrid, it must have obviously impressed Nuno in order for the club to agree to take him on permanently. And it could be a player like La Madrid could be pretty perfect for the Championship, maybe just not quite good enough for the Premier League, but in terms of the Championship, he might just do the trick. I don't know. The other news, of course, is that Nuno wants to keep another winger, Adama Traore, which I find rather surprising. Now, Traore missed the last couple of games because of injury of the season. But he didn't, even before that, he didn't get an awful lot of game time at West Ham, and it kind of surprises me somewhat that Nuno wants to keep him. But there's going to be a bit of a battle there, because my understanding is there's a bit of pushback from the directors to keep the player on, because Traore is going to probably want to keep Premier League wages. We know that with the clubs going down, most players are going to have to take a 50% drop in salary. So that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. I'm in two minds about Traore, to be honest with you. I didn't really want him in the first place. He showed signs of decency in some games, but overall, I wasn't really that kind of like... He was all right. But he'd be a very expensive player to keep in the Championship on his 120 grand a week wages. So I don't know about him. Now, Madrid, I've got an open mind, because we don't know what entity he is. We don't know how good he can be. But in the Championship, maybe La Madrid might be useful. But are these players, Traore and La Madrid, as replacements for the departing Crescencio Somerville? Now that's interesting, because we know Somerville is quite likely to go. He had a decent debut for the Netherlands national squad build up to their World Cup campaign, and he's much sought after. We keep hearing teams in the Premier League are interested, Tottenham, teams abroad, Roma, etc. apparently are showing an interest. And if we can get £40 million for Somerville, and if he wants to go, then I guess we're going to have no choice but to let him go. I would rather he stayed, but it'd be understandable if we can't keep hold of him. There's rumour that apparently he's linked back to Leeds United as well, so that would be quite interesting too. Now, he's the sort of player I'd rather loan out rather than sell, but needs must, because we've got money issues. You know, if we get £40 million for him, that could go a long way to putting a dent in the debt that we have at the club. So, but are Traore and La Madrid the answers to Somerville departing? I'm not so sure. I hope we still use a little bit of money to go out and get ourselves a really good, solid winger, an attacking player out on that left-hand side. Other news. Of course, we keep hearing about Fernandez, and it looks like we're going to get the bidding war that we're hoping for. Now, West Ham United are putting out the stories suggesting that we want to keep the player, and I would like to keep the player. And West Ham, but in the same breath, West Ham have put out his value. You know, we want 80 million for him. Now, I saw, I don't go on Twitter much, but every now and again I sort of pop in there, and I saw Henry Winter, the journalist, write about him and Anderson from Nottingham Forest, you know, and Winter was saying, well, Matthias Fernandes is not worth the money, not worth £80 million, he ain't quite ready yet. Well, you know, as far as I'm concerned, the player's worth what a club is willing to pay. Now, I don't think we'll get 80 million for him, but we're setting the target. You know, we're saying 80 million. If we walk away with around 65, 70, I think we'll do extremely well getting that sort of money for him, especially after only one season and we paid, what, 42 million for him in total. So I think getting something like 65 to 70 million for him will go another long way of putting a dent in the debt that we have at the club. Now, what I think is interesting is, one thing that I think we really ought to try to do is to sell as few players as possible and get as much money as possible for them, so that, you know, I hear stories about, well, you know, we're going to have to sell or let go of a dozen players. I don't believe that for a second. I think there will be a number of players leaving. Most of the players that are out on loan, the senior players that are out on loan, are likely to go. Players like Fulkrug, Alvarez, Cornet, James Ward-Prowse, those sorts of players, they absolutely will go. Not for a lot of money, but they'll bring the wage bill down. So I expect, you know, 4 players on loan to be sold, absolutely, or to be gone from the club. On top of maybe, I think, 3 players at most, because if we can sell 3 key players from our current squad, you know, and bring in over £100 million, let's say we get 65 for Fernandez, let's say we get 40 for Somerville, that's 105 million, and then we get rid of another 1 or 2, then our debt is massively reduced, and then we can focus on keeping all the other players at West Ham. Now, I don't believe that we're going to allow 12 players to go, because Nuno, having confirmed that he's staying on at West Ham, and now it looks like Paco is also staying, will suggest that Nuno will push to try and keep key players. So he'll work on the likes of Bowen, he'll work on the likes of Souček, and then other players could follow suit and go, well, they're staying, we might as well stay for one season and see how it goes. Now, our other players will go. Alphonse Areola, a high earner on 120 grand a week. There's interest from clubs like Paris FC in League One. I think he'll go. Jean-Claire Todibo, who's apparently fallen out with Nuno, absolutely, I think he'll go too. So players like that will go. And but there's also another French player that there's apparent interest in, which is Mohamedou Kante. Now, apparently, he's worth anything between 12 to 15 million pounds. Fantastic. Shows how much he's developed in the time that he's at West Ham this season. But I don't think a player like Kante will be allowed to go. I think he's exactly the sort of footballer that we're going to need at West Ham next season for a promotion push. And I think we'll resist getting the 10 or 15 million for someone like him, and we'll keep him because he'll become an integral part of the squad next season. So it's interesting what's going on. Our first summer signing in Kibala Madrid, technically it's accurate, it's the first summer signing. Nuno wanted to keep Traore. I'm confused by that one. Traore is going to want Premier League money, and I don't think we should be pushing for that. And it sounds like the owners don't necessarily want to back that particular signing. And then we'll see what else happens. But the Matthias Fernandes thing, I think will roll on for some time. But I think he will eventually go. I think, well, the other thing with Matthias Fernandes is apparently, on top of Man United and Arsenal and PSG being interested, apparently Real Madrid are as well. So that's going to create the bidding war. That is going to, if they are really interested, then all of a sudden we could see his value go up and up and up. Now, let's see. So there you go. More updates. Not doom and gloom just yet, because we haven't seen anything permanent in terms of who might be leaving the club. But Real Madrid could be a dark horse next season.